In Russia, you don't drink vodka. Vodka drinks you. That was my attempt at a Russian accent. Sorry. Welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. My name's Ruben, and this is my review for Netflix's new original series called In From the Cold. Had you heard about this one? If you want to hear a rant about this, Chris from Movies and Munchies this Sunday in our podcast called The Best Thing We Watched This Week is going to be talking about this with all the spoilers. But for now, this is a non-spoiler review. Let's jump in. Exposed as an ex-Russian spy, an American single mom must juggle family life and unique shape-shifting skills in a battle against an insidious enemy. Okay, so there are 8 episodes. They're about 45 minutes at the mark, kind of standard industry episode length. And from the outset, I thought, wow, this is a very interesting take on, I guess, a genre or a storyline that we've seen many times. So if you take the Nikita storyline, someone that is recruited at birth to be this vicious killer, probably against their will at some sort. If you take Alias and you mix these together, then you add in a sort of power-based thing, the shape-shifting power-base, so a little bit of X-Men or a little bit of superpowers, whatever you want to call it, and you put that into a mix, and I'm thinking, wow, that sounds very interesting. Then, to add into that mix, we have a flashback scenario giving our character a lot of background story, which is great because when you get flashbacks, sometimes they're a couple of 2 minutes. You know, you get that sound effect or that zoom sound effect, visual effects, and we're back in the past and they're showing us what happened previously in the life to make that person this character. That's what we get in the series, but they spend a lot of time actually in the past, so it's almost like we have 2 parallel stories running alongside each other. It came to pass for me that I preferred the storyline in the past. I thought it reminded me of the Americans, another spy series. It had more grit. I was very impressed with what they were doing with those characters, played by different actors, obviously, because they're much younger. It had a vibe to it that I was really enjoying. And every time we came to the future, I was like, okay, I guess we'll follow the main storyline. And the main story wasn't boring. And some of the fight sequences that we get in our modern world were really interesting, especially when you start using those powers. The thing that doesn't work and just pissed me off all the way through this series is there's this law that they set up, how she's used her powers when she can't use her powers, and that is sporadic throughout the series. There's one episode, I think it's episode 7, where I literally just went bullshit. I turned my mouth and I said, I call bullcrap, because what was happening on screen was they changed the law suddenly to fit the narrative. And that really irked me. I hate it when that happens. Your job as a director and a writer is to establish the law and then keep it consistent throughout. So when your audience goes, well, hang on a minute, you couldn't do that before, but now you're doing that because you've written yourself out of that block that you want to. Just because. Yeah, so that really bugged me because this was the interesting part of the storyline. They were writing themselves ways out and it didn't seem to gel or fit with it. It's an interesting, unique story, and by no means is it boring throughout. There are action sequences that are really enjoyable. There's the mother and daughter relationship that is the strained relationship because of the father no longer really in the picture, and that is interesting. That is the drama. They're trying to make it the heart. There's also romance in the story that I felt like didn't need to be a part of the story at all. There's also the tech African-American dude that seems to be the tech African-American dude because they needed a tech African-American dude. Really wish they got more into his character or giving him some sort of substance. So as you can see from me speaking my feelings of the modern day time storyline, that is the majority of the story, I was like, yeah, but it feels shallow in depth. And that's before we get to the arc. And the arc, I think, is more interesting because it leads from the past, which I really appreciated. You're kind of joining the worlds. The reason why, by the time you get to the end, you're probably going to be on board somewhat, but you're also going to be frustrated. I think you're going to have seen all the twists coming, but as a one-time watch, I think it was fairly enjoyable, but there were things that just niggled at me the whole way. If you're able to put those aside, enjoy the flashback scenes that are quite long and I thought were more interesting than the main story until we get to that arc that connects, well worth your time then for those moments. Fight sequences as well, believable for the most part when they show it to you. When they zoom in and cut or just move the camera away, then you're like, but I was enjoying that moment. So it's a real mixed bag for me. I think I'm gonna go 3 Nicolas Cages out of 5. Just it's teetering on like 2.8, 2.9. Probably that's where I would settle. If I thought about it more, if I had to dissect it, I could easily go with 2. But I like what they did with some of the parts, so I'm going to stick to that 3. Let me know your thoughts down below once you've seen it. Do you like this type of series? I love the Nikita series. I love the Luc Besson assassin film that he did, which I thought was excellent. Those type of storylines are really fun. If executed well, they can stand out above the rest. Alias was fun, although there were some episodes that weren't great, but for the most part, was when it came out, it was great fun to watch. I think this is trying to fill that void. Unfortunately, I don't feel like it's the end and they're hoping to get a few more seasons out of this. I'm not sure that I would want any more. Let me know your thoughts below. Thanks so much for watching, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.